Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gentle Life. For those of you that don't know, my name is Precious. This video, as you guys can tell probably by the title of the video, is going to be about the story of my first daughter, Makenzie, and her experience when she was 3 months old, shaken baby syndrome. It's taken a while to kind of do this video because this is my first time really having to tell the story of what happened to her. And it was just a very traumatic experience for all of us. I was a first-time mom, so it's just a lot to kind of take in. So I do want to tell you guys what happened. I know you guys have been concerned. You guys have sent lots of messages. You guys have commented a lot asking what happened. And I want to be able to, help anybody else that may be going through this as well too. So for those that also don't know, I had twins first, Matthew and Makenzie. This was 2014. At 3 months old, Makenzie was shaken by her biological father. The events that led up to that day was a pretty normal day for us. We had taken them to the doctors. They had received their shots, and Makenzie went with her dad that day. And I'm going to tell you the story based on what was told to me, because I do want to make aware that I was not there, wasn't not in the home when it happened. So this is the story that was told to me. Makenzie was crying, couldn't get her to stop crying. He was frustrated. She was laying in the bed. He was making her a bottle. In the midst of her crying, he picked her up by her arm. Now, at this time, Makenzie is 3 months old, but she was only 5 pounds. Makenzie was born she was only 3 pounds when she was born. So, picked her up by her arm, and I'm assuming it had to have been a very forceful pickup by the arm. No matter what the size is of the baby, that is not how you properly pick up a baby. It broke her arm. She had a broken arm she was dislocated in 3 different parts. Because of that happening, of course, it increased her crying. And at that point, to get her to stop crying or to release frustration, she was shaken. It wasn't until the next morning that I was told about, it wasn't until the next morning that my sister and her husband went to pick her up from his location. When I picked Makenzie up out of her car seat, when I finally got her, I realized that her arm, when I picked her up, her arm fell, and you can tell that it was broken. She was not crying. I could not tell physically looking at her that there was anything wrong with her at all. I immediately took her to her pediatrician, and at this point, you guys, she's not crying. You just can't tell. There's nothing going on, even with her arm. She's just not crying. She just appears to be very normal. At that point, of course, you take, they did a full body scan of her and realized that she had bleeding to her frontal lobe. And I do want to point out that if her arm was not broken, I would not have known that she was shaken. I would not have known that she had bleeding in her brain, and I also would not have known that she had retinal hemorrhaging in her eyes, because the symptoms, they're so vague. You just don't know. And so once that was done, they also did a check on Matthew to, of course, to be sure that everything was okay with him. Now, Matthew was in my care at the time. So I want to get into a little bit about what happens once that discovery is found, once you find out that your baby has been shaken. So at the hospital, of course, the doctors are required to call law enforcement, and they're required to call CPS at this point because they just don't know what is going on, how it happened. CPS, they already had a caseworker at the hospital, so they came in first. They interviewed me, and also when they interview you, they also interview anybody that you may know, any close relative, to kind of build like to kind of get a sense of who you are as a person, you know. So they do that. CPS comes in, and at this point, you guys, I am bawling, I'm like crying, I'm shaking. I have no idea what to do. I have no idea what to think. I'm just like, how did this happen? What's going on? And CPS is getting my statement, like, you know, from 24 hours prior, right? So when Makenzie was first placed in his care, they want to know what we did that morning. They want to know what we did after. They want to know any phone calls, any text messages. You guys, by this time when they're asking me this, law enforcement is there. And in my case, you guys, law enforcement had already got, I'm assuming, previous statements, and they were actually ready to like arrest me. Like they were ready to like, we've been told that you did it, you know, you brought her in, and you know, we need to bring you down to the police station. It happens very quickly, you guys. And in the moment of a tragic event, you guys, it's really hard to really think about, oh my God, well, what happened 24 hours ago? What did I even eat last night? Like, and so I'm explaining to CPS, like, this is what happened. And the only thing that saved me was text messages that I got. Text messages all through the entire night, and pictures that I received stating, like, showing that Makenzie wasn't in my care. And so I had to give them, you know, my phone, and they had to take all of that. And then, you know, the police is coming in, and I'm assuming it's just a police job to kind of like really get to the bottom of this, because now they're telling me, like, you know, we were told that you did it. We were told that Makenzie was dropped off with her dad in this condition, and he didn't know what to do. And, you know, they're at this point like pressuring me, like, you know, you're saying he did it, he's saying you did it. Do we need to take you both down? You know, and it's, at this point, you guys, I am just like ready to just scream, you know. So after they're getting statements from me, they got statements from my sisters, from my best friend Brianna, my mom, just everybody. It lasted all night. So finally, when they came back into the room, they told me later on at night that her dad confessed and said what happened. And then, so the story that I know as far as what happened is what the police told me. It was later confirmed when I actually got to speak with her dad. So that's that, you guys. And honestly, it's no excuse, it's no reason as to why someone does that. It's just no reason. It's just no excuse. Some key points that I do want to make aware, to help you guys that may be dealing with a situation, or maybe first-time parents, because shaken baby syndrome happens typically to children under 1 year old, so, and more under 6 months old. So for any of, you know, new parents that may be struggling with trying to keep your baby quiet, trying to get them to stop crying, and just, you know, maybe going through postpartum depression. A lot of the things that, you know, that you guys can do, that I took, that I did when my baby is crying. It is okay to place your baby in a crib and to walk out the room. It is okay to place them in a safe space and walk out of the room. I don't care what you have to do, scream in a pillow, break some glass. I don't personally, as long as no one is being harmed, like, there are things that you can do. It is okay for your baby to cry. There is a such thing as purple crying. And that stage, your baby could be fed, been changed, and ideally you did everything that you were supposed to do, and the baby is still going to cry. That is absolutely normal. okay? You are not doing anything wrong. There are resources, there are places, there are, if you don't have family member or friends or anybody that could help you with your child, or, you know, I personally would take my baby to the hospital. I would go to the emergency room. If that's the last thing that if you can't think of anything else, that is something that you can do. But I do want to let you know that placing them and letting them cry is absolutely okay. And I know that there are other resources out there. Even prior to us having the twins, we took birthing classes, and in those birthing classes, they did talk to us about shaken baby syndrome. They talked to us about purple cry. We were actually active into a lot of those birthing classes, but there are other signs, even if there is something that's not available to you. If you notice a lot of like built up aggression and anger, like sometimes that is just someone's personality. Sometimes people just do not have patience even before having children. And that is a sign that I knew, but I missed completely. I didn't associate like his anger with him wanting to, that he could hurt his daughter, our daughter. I just didn't think it. It wasn't in my head to think like, okay, you know, yeah, he may be yelling at me, he may be mad at me, but he's not gonna hurt his daughter. Like I don't think that that's something that he would do. Those are big signs, you guys. If you know, even, and it's not just, although it is ideally more in males and the fathers, it does still happen with moms and women. So as a dad, if you are seeing signs, postpartum depression, not wanting to be close to their child, not really adapting back to their normal routine, those are signs to get help, to help them. It's a very thin line. It's a very sensitive situation. Becoming a parent, having more children, because it's very sensitive, and it's very important for you guys to catch any type of signs and to talk to your partner about any way that they may be feeling, or any sudden changes or behaviors, or if they have these behaviors prior to you guys having children. That is something that somebody is going to want to get fixed before you bring children in the world. And I know it's a cliche. I know it's a cliche as to, watch who you have children with, but that is true. And it is also true that somebody that does not appear to have aggression or anger or any type of, any signs like that, to still also shake their baby or to harm their baby. It can happen to anyone. So I do want you guys to know that. And I'm sorry, you guys, I know this is the first time I'm having to tell a story, so I'm trying to explain everything, and it's not enough. I'm not going to be able to explain to you guys and answer all of your questions about what happened, because again, this is a story. This is something that I experienced, I had to go through, but it is also Makenzie's story that she is going to have to tell, or that she might, want to tell as she get older. Although she doesn't remember it, she was 3 months old, but it affects her. It affects her now. One of the main reasons why they take these cases, why they don't take these cases super light, is because that type of brain damage does not show up, and you won't be able to know until they are older, 5 years old. Around 5 years old, you won't know what type of disability or what type of delays they're going to have. Their dad did end up pleading guilty. He did serve 5 years in prison. And there was also a no contact order for 2 years after he was released from prison. Currently, he does not have any contact with his children. So Makenzie is safe, you guys. She is thriving. She is doing well. She has dyslexia. She has issues with reading and remembering things, but there is no real way to know if it was because of that or she was already going to be like that. But that's why they don't take those cases lightly, because it could have been worse. A lot of the times children can die from that, especially if you don't know the signs, and because the signs are so subtle, you just don't know what to do. If you don't know that your baby was shaken, they can die. And so it's not something that any state, I believe, or any person takes lightly, you guys. So make sure you guys are regularly checking on your baby. Make sure you guys are regularly sending them to the doctor and making sure you guys know who your child is around, because it can really happen to anyone. So I do appreciate you guys for all of your concerns, all of your questions, and just, all of your love that you guys have sent to us, and to Makenzie especially. We appreciate it. So I hope that this helps anybody I just hope that it helps anybody. I hope that it helps you. I hope that this video is your sign to check on your baby, to hug your baby close. And I appreciate you guys for coming back to our channel. And I know this is something different than our autism thing, but May is Shaken Baby Syndrome Month, so definitely want to keep spreading awareness. And you guys share this video, like, comment. If you guys have gone through similar situations, we'd love to hear your story. But I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. So thank you guys. Until next time.